Hey guys, welcome back. I'm really excited. This is the second episode of my podcast, Inside the Shell with Ryan Shell. So I'm super pumped to be back. After that first episode, I was kind of dying to just get right back in and just post another video, man. I've been brainstorming, got some thoughts I want to share with you guys and yeah. Um so this episode I really want to talk about mental health, especially in regards to physical physical fitness. So we're gonna touch on quite a few different topics today, but I want to kind of start with a bodybuilding show recap. As I said in the last episode, I just did the bodybuilding show about 3 weeks ago. So we are 3 weeks post show. And I think the reason I want to talk about this is because right now I will openly say that I am struggling currently with my mental health in regards to my physical fitness. I think it stems from being that lean, that stage lean you get to. I was probably like what? I would want to say 7 to 8% body fat. I mean, I was peeled. I was peeled. Coach Ben, my coach. If you're listening to this, Ben, next time we gotta get the legs a little more shredded. They were shredded, but the legs, he said I have like football legs and it was just they're super thick and dense, which is really good, but it's also really hard to get that level of conditioning for me. But anyway, for me, getting that peeled and probably in the best shape of my life so far, it was a transformative experience. And when you get to be that lean, obviously, like you don't feel that great, but you look crazy. And that mental image of yourself, you're like, holy crap, I look so good. Like it pumps you up. Right. But now that I'm stepped off stage and I've enjoyed, certain food groups that I haven't had in a long time, like fruit or like fruit's one of my favorite food groups. I love fruit. Side topic real quick. What is your top three favorite fruits or favorite fruit? I'll give you mine right now just because fruit is just amazing. Peaches are great. Pineapple, I'll go with. I only got one left. I think I'm going to have to go with, see, I got peaches, pineapple. I've been really liking pears lately too, or even like a Granny Smith apple. Those would probably be three or four. I love all those fruits. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I'm really struggling with kind of my body image right now, especially since I was super, super lean and I still am. But because I've added new things into my diet and I've enjoyed myself in various like different free meals that I've been taking, even being on a reverse diet, like I'm still eating pretty healthily. I'm on a meal plan still, but I still have 1 to 2 cheat meals a week. So it's like every time I have a cheat meal, I enjoy it, but like the fact is after the matter, I feel guilty and I feel like I shouldn't be eating this. So I think that's kind of not the greatest way to look at it. And I'm still struggling with it internally. But when I look in the mirror now, my biggest struggle is I'm not as shredded as I used to be. And I even said to myself yesterday, I'm like, wow, I think I look kind of fat, which is crazy to say, right? Like, because obviously, like, me as a human being, like, people out there, like, brutally honest, they're fat. Some people are actually fat and me saying that to myself, I'm like, "Oh, I'm fat." It's like kinda disrespecting them and kinda their issues, right? So, I think mentally, it's just been kind of wearing down on me a bit because you see yourself on stage, you see yourself in the mirror before getting on stage, and you're like, "Man, I look freaking incredible." And then you step off and you have a few meals that, your body isn't used to having these types of foods. So it holds on to all this water and sodium and it bloats you up. You're bloated. So I'm still dealing with the fact that put on a little bit of weight, I put on a little bit of body fat and I'm holding a lot of water and I look quote unquote fluffy. That's like a term I'll use to describe kind of how I look right now. Don't get me wrong. I feel great. Like internally, I feel really good. I can push in the gym again. I actually enjoy going to the gym, which I think is amazing. But I definitely feel like I don't look as good, which is true. I don't. But as my coach was telling me, he was actually telling me last night, like, hey, like, don't stress about it. Like, this stuff happens. And we're going to get you to a point where you're going to lean down a little bit more. Your body's has a lot of inflammation. It's holding on to all this stuff because you've deprived it of all all those things and all those food groups for so long. So it's like you will get back to where you used to be in the matter of a month or 2 months. It just takes time and patience right now is something I'm really trying to work on, and I'm really trying to accept the way I look now. So that is kind of the first thing I wanted to touch on, my personal view, especially after this bodybuilding show. Again, I'm saying if you guys ever do a bodybuilding show, you know, that is something that you could also struggle with as I'm struggling with now. But then again, I had pancakes after church on Sunday and they were freaking phenomenal. So there's also that aspect too. But yeah, that is something I'm struggling with. And I kind of want to just be real with you guys and throw it out there, which leads me kind of into my next topic of body dysmorphia. I've kind of struggled with body dysmorphia my entire life. I wouldn't say entire life, but I would say probably eighth grade, ninth grade, starting high school era. As you know, like people who maybe don't know what body dysmorphia is, I'll define it for you real quick. It's just somebody who doesn't enjoy the way they look. They look in the mirror and they see, a skewed image of themselves, let's say. So for me in high school, I looked in the mirror. I saw this super, super skinny kid, in which I was. People called me like string bean, beanpole. That was a crazy one. A lot of people told me to eat a burger or eat a sandwich. And at that age, I feel like it's so dangerous, but also it pushed me to be better. So I'm also thankful it happened, but it's like, it was tough, Growing up in high school, I played freshman basketball and I was constantly running. I was kind of eating whatever I wanted and my metabolism was just super fast and I was just naturally skinny, like a skinnier kid. So when I got called those things, it was almost like, what am I doing wrong? Like I'm working out, I'm running, I'm a fit, healthy guy, I'm eating pretty decent, But it wasn't until like after that season where I was like, okay, what is something I need to work on to make me better? And these thoughts and these people that were saying these things about me, either behind my back or even to my face, I was like, well, if I'm skinny, maybe I need to put on some muscle. Maybe I need to get bigger, stronger, faster, whatever. Right. So I did that during the off season. I worked my butt off. Um, Came back um, my sophomore year, and I put on maybe solid 15 pounds. I was a bigger kid. I had a little bit more muscle. I started working out, um, and the craziest part about that is when I came back, I didn't make the JV team. I was cut, and kind of not expecting that because going through tryouts, I thought I did really well. That was probably the thing I wanted most in my entire life at that point. I worked day in and day out to get better. And then hearing the coach kind of come in, you know, I don't know if you get how you guys have had it. If you've ever tried out for a basketball or any sport, they bring you into this room and he kind of tells you if you made the team or not. And then he tells you, either what you need to work on or how you can improve if you didn't make the team, or when you make the team, if he tells you that, what the plan is going forward, obviously. He told me to my face. I walked in there, I was confident as hell, I'll tell you. I was like, man, I made the team. I worked my butt off this year. I'm going to make this team. I'm going to make this JV team as a sophomore. I go in there, he goes, I'm sorry, Ryan. You just didn't make the cut this year. You weren't good enough. You weren't good enough. And to me, those were the most harmful, motivating words that started a new chapter in my life. Just him telling me I wasn't good enough. That JV coach told me that. So after that, it really kind of spiraled. I was in tears. I remember getting in the car. My dad picked me up from school. I was in tears. I couldn't even tell him. He just already knew that I didn't make the team. And I was devastated. But I'll tell you, the very next day, I said, screw that. I'm going to go train. I woke up at like, I don't know. I was high off of motivation, 5 a.m. I went to the gym and I just started hitting the weights. From that point on, I didn't leave the gym. I never came back. That's what's kind of started my bodybuilding journey and me kind of trying to sculpt all this muscle I have now. Went from over the course of high school, I want to say I started at what? I was probably around 25. I was a skinny kid, like I said, at I don't know, 5'7", 130 pounds. And then by the end of my senior year, um, I transitioned into football by that time, by my sophomore year, because I was putting on muscle. So I played football, and by the end of senior year, I was around 235 pounds. Now, don't get me wrong, I was a big kid, but I definitely dirty bulked. So that's a whole different side topic, but I put on a lot of mass, a lot of weight, a lot of it was muscle, and then obviously you got fat too. So I wasn't in the best shape, but I was a hell of a lot stronger and I was a hell of a lot bigger. So that's kind of where my journey started. But through this point, body dysmorphia has been kind of just a part of who I am. I'm always going to have it, I feel like. I've definitely been able to think better about the subject and it hasn't affected me very much. But over the course of high school is where it really took charge and why I started to work out to kind of prove that JV coach wrong, that I am better and I'm going to show him, that's kind of where the drive came from. But now it's a different kind of thing where I had the drive, I had the motivation during prep, and I looked really, really good. And then it came to getting off stage and not looking as good and thinking that I was fat. So it comes and goes for me, but it's been really prominent at this point in my bodybuilding career as of right now. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to touch on in terms of body dysmorphia wise. I am going to move on here to something more regarding physical health. Like I said, I wanted to touch on mental health in regards of physical health and maybe how you can apply that in your life. So enough about me. I'm kind of just going to speak more generally now. I wanted to touch on how fitness can not just help with physical appearance, but also like your brain, right? There are literally studies, I've read about them, that working out reduces stress, can help with anxiety. It's lower depression rates. Like I've seen those studies and those analytics. So working out, if you don't work out and you struggle with mental health, consider it. Consider going to the gym, even just going on a run or a walk. I'm telling you, it's life-changing. It is just like a breath of fresh air. When I'm struggling with something or like I've had a long day, I will go into the gym and I'll put on my headphones. Sometimes I don't even use headphones, but usually I'll put on my headphones and I'll just zone out. I will tell you it's therapy. It's a form of therapy. People talk about it like that. And that's what it has done and is doing for me. So if you ever are struggling with something, do some form of physical activity. I'm telling you, it works. In my experience, I'll tell you, I literally bought a truck, or not, I didn't buy a truck. Well, I got a truck. Me and my dad bought a truck, right? Holy crap, was it expensive, right? I've never put that much money down on anything. I got to drive for about a month. Driver for a month, guess what happens? You guessed it, broke down, right? I still don't have it. I should have it this Friday. Or yeah, I'm filming this on Wednesday, so it'll come out on Saturday probably when I'm done editing it. But I should have it by the time this episode's released. But anyway, I got a truck. It broke down on me in the middle of prep, which was devastating. Devastating. I got out of a friend's house. I was seeing a friend. Or a couple of guys. We were playing poker. Came outside, I turned my truck on, it wouldn't start. I felt so bad. I was not eating a lot of food. I was exhausted from that day. I had worked a freaking 10-hour shift. I was exhausted. And then I come outside and the car won't start. The car I just put money into, the car I just bought with my dad, wouldn't start. I got a ride home that night from my coach. Luckily, he was there, took me home, told me like, hey, God's got you. God's got you. And I believed it. That following day, even though my workouts were trash because I was so low energy, so low carb at that point, I went in there and because I was struggling with so much stuff and I was so stressed out, I went in there that next day. One of the best workouts I've had on prep because it gave me a mental break and something to work for. And I think it can do, like, not directly applying this to me, but to anybody out there that is struggling with stuff in your life, the gym can absolutely help you with that. And I encourage you to go to the gym. So next kind of topic here. I wanted to talk about this because I thought it was super interesting. And I wanted to present the question to you guys, the listeners. I recently saw or heard this question on a podcast. I don't remember the podcast. I was kind of just, I still can't remember it, but the guy asked in in the podcast, he was interviewing somebody. He goes, "Who am I without fitness?" And he was asking himself, and he was asking the person he was interviewing. And I'm gonna kind of let you sit with that question, you, the viewer. Who am I without fitness? Now, if you are anything like me and you're listening to this podcast, you're probably involved somewhat in fitness or some form of physical activity, and you enjoy the lifestyle, right? You work hard, you're driven, you're passionate about what you want to achieve in life. So if you're anything like me and you're heavily involved in fitness, this is a hard question to answer, right? I heard this, I think I wrote it down actually. Let me go through my journal here. March 4th. Hold on. Here's what I wrote about it. This is when I heard it on March 4th and I wrote it down in my journal. Here's what I said. I heard this question on a podcast and it's kind of been hard to come up with an answer. The question is, who are you without fitness? For me, I feel like I don't have an answer yet, and I need to do more self-digging to find out what else defines who I am. Today, I finally feel like I can answer that question. Here's what I'm a leader, a son, and I'm a brother. I'm someone who pushes themselves to be better every single day. I am someone who wants the best for others. I strive for things that will bring me success, and my hope is to inspire others to do the same. I'm a son that was born to protect and help my family, brother that was made to help support my sister and love her because I am the older brother. That is my job. On further reflection, I just want to say this took me several months to answer this question. Now, I still feel like I can answer it better than I just did. So, if, like I said, if you're anything like me and you're listening to this podcast and you are heavily involved in that, I want you to take some time and kind of dig deeper into yourself and find an answer for that. Who are you without fitness? Who are you without this exercise of choice in your life? If you remove all exercise from your life, who are you? I bet you it's harder to answer than you think because it really was for me. It took me several freaking months. So sit with that for a little bit and try to really dig deep and think about it because it's not a very easy thing to answer. A lot of people describe the gym or like running or any type of exercise as their me time, their safe place, right? That's kind of how I would describe it. The gym for me would be my safe place. Like I said before, if you're struggling with something, it can really, really help you out. I'll give you another example, even from my truck. This was actually yesterday. Today, it was just super hectic day, right? Went through all my classes, and then I go to my Canvas page and I look at all the assignments that I have to do for the week because I have to finish everything during the week because I work Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's like everything has to get done before Friday or on Friday, like Friday morning, because I won't have time to do it during the weekend, including this podcast. This is something I need to finish. And then it gets posted on Saturdays, but, record it. I have to edit it and it has to come out on a specific time, but that has to be done before Saturday. So everything and all my work gets done before Friday or on Friday. So, like I said, extremely stressful day. I go to my Canvas page and I see 20 assignments, 20 that are due by Sunday night. And they're all like relatively longer assignments, right? I'm still not done with them. I'm still not done. And I have an exam tomorrow. So it's like, not only does you have to manage your time, but it's like, you have to, for me, it's like planning the gym around my school. So it's like, when I take my break, when I'm done studying, I go to the gym. The gym is my break. My break can't be sitting there watching YouTube or, I can't do that because I just don't have that time. So my mental break is the gym. And it provides me so much stress relief because it's a solid hour to hour and a half where I go in there and I get to think about nothing. It's just something that really helps me. And like I said, the past couple times. If you're someone who struggles with mental health, well-being, even body dysmorphia, right? Go to the gym. Go to the gym. I want to leave you guys kind of with a quote. I think I'm going to start doing quote of the weeks. I just think they're really insightful and things that you can apply to your life. So this will be the start of something that I want to try. Because like I said, I think it'd be extremely beneficial to not just me to share it, but also just to give you guys more insight. And you can think about this quote and the things I talked about in this podcast today. And you can really relate to it, or you can try to apply it to your life. So the quote goes like this: the answers you want are hidden behind the actions you avoid. I'll let that sink in. The answers you want are hidden behind the actions you avoid. That is from Sahil Bloom. If you know who Sahil Bloom is, he's a writer and author. He actually wrote 5 Types of Wealth. If you guys are really interested in reading like I am, that is a book that you should definitely check out. I highly recommend it. Yeah, I think that's where I'm going to end this podcast for today. I really just wanted to come in here, kind of give you some more background on me, help you guys kind of see that body dysmorphia is not just, it's not just the essence. It's like a real problem. And I have it, and I'm sure many of you have it. If you're listening to this, if you're anything into bodybuilding, fitness, like it's in there and it cannot be ignored. And I wanted to bring it to light today. So yeah, if you guys are, like I said, at all struggling with mental health and well-being, and if you're depressed, consider the gym. That is my biggest message for you here today, is just get in the gym, get outside, get active. It can really save your life, because it saved mine. And yeah, I thank you guys so much for listening to me rant and and just spewing information at you, and just yapping. So I thank you guys for listening. I am going to, like I said, I'm going to end this. Like, I have to eat my chicken and rice, because I have to go to the gym after this, and become stress-free for about a couple hours. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to me absolutely just blow your eardrums out with yappiness. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.